Adityanath to Prime Minister. So this is the grandiosity of the Mahakumbh 2025, what we are talking about. Back to you.
All right, Harsha, we'll keep coming back to you for the latest on that story. Thank you for giving us those details as we see pictures of Yogi Adityanath, who's already arrived at Prime Minister's residence to invite him for the Mahakumbh. Viewers, our top story today, L&T chairman S.N. Subramanian has sparked a massive controversy with his comments suggesting employees should work 90 hours a week and even on Sundays to remain competitive. In the video that has asked why L&T required its employees to work on Saturdays, Mr. Subramanian said, "I regret I am not able to make you work on Sundays, to be honest. If I can make you work on Sundays, I will be more happy because I work on Sundays also." He made a misogynistic comment by saying, "What do you do sitting at home? How long can you stare at your wife? And how long can the wives stare at their husbands?" Samiksha?
Well, that's right, Rhythm. And, let's once again tell our viewers that S.N. Subramanian has quoted a controversy. He's advocated for 90 hours work week. He's even gone on to say that he expects his employees to work even on Sundays, something which has drawn sharp remarks, responses, not just from the India Inc., but from celebrities and even politicians for that matter. But let's once again run our viewers through those statements that have been made by S.N. Subramanian, who earns 51 crore a year, which is 535 times more than what an average employee working at L&T earns. So he says, how long can wives stare at their husbands? This was a remark which reeks of misogynistic mindset of the L&T chairman. He says that Chinese workers put in 90 hours a week. So this is from that conversation he was having with his employees, where he said that he had earlier spoken to a Chinese professional who said that the Chinese work 90 hours a day. So this was spoken in that meet that he held with his staff. He's even gone on to say that I will be happier if I can make you work on Sundays. So it seems that this is an attempt to make it a new normal, attempt by the L&T chairman to make his employees work, or rather make the people of the country work even on Sundays, 90 hours a week, which is more than 14 hours a day. He says that Indians should work 70 hours a week to contribute to the nation's progress. Beg your pardon, this was a statement that earlier came in from the Infosys co-founder Narayan Murthy, who had pitched for a 70-hour work week, whereas we are seeing now S.N. Subramanian, who's called for a 90-hour work week. He's even gone on to say that one should work on Sundays as well. Let's also run through those statements that have been made by CEOs and co-founders of other startups and companies. It's Bhavish Agarwal, the Ola CEO, who says, "Do not think that work-life balance is the right construct. Saturday, Sunday off, not an Indian thing." So there we have even Bhavish Agarwal, the Ola CEO, who's tried to make it normal working on Saturdays and Sundays, not thinking that working for longer hours, the impact that it could have on one's mental health as well. Elon Musk, for that matter, the Tesla CEO, has said that he does not take rest. He sleeps, he wakes up, and he gets back to work. He said you just have to put in 80 to 100 hours a week every week, which is equal to working over 14 hours a day. Let's also run through other statements that have been made. Kotak AMC MD Nilesh Shah, a market expert, who says one generation of Indians should be working for 84 hours a week to ensure faster growth of the country. So you have not just one, two, but several of these leaders from the market, from market experts, India Inc. leaders, and now we have L&T chairman for that matter, Anupam Mittal, Shadi.com founder. He says people should put in 80 hours of work in a week early on in their career. So Anupam Mittal also in similar vein pitching for 80 to 100 hours work week. Adit Palish, the Zepto CEO, says candidly working 80 to 100 hours a week, we could have probably worked half of that with a lot less stress. So you have these leaders from the Ola CEO to Zepto CEO, the L&T chairman, and Narayan Murthy, the co-founder of Infosys for that matter, who's pitched for 70 hours a day. So that is a statement that came in from the Zepto CEO. In fact, additionally to add here, the statement that came in from the L&T that has defended the statements of Subramaniam, S.N. Subramanian for that matter, saying that it aligns the statements of S.N. Subramaniam, they align with the policy of the company, and that it is a step in the right direction. But let's also talk about the actor who's waded in this whole controversy. It's Deepika Padukone, who's unequivocally expressed that how this statement must be condemned in harshest of terms, given that working for 90 hours a week or even 70 hours a week would lead to burnout, mental stress, and that it's no way pragmatic. She says, and I quote here, shocking to see people in senior positions making such statements. So we have Deepika Padukone also leading from the front, coming out in the open and saying that this statement must be condemned. Jwala Gutta, the Olympian, who's also weighed in, she says, why shouldn't he stare at his wife? Well, this is with reference to that misogynist remark that was made by S.N. Subramaniam, who says, who spoke about this in his meeting with his staff. Jwala Gutta further says that sad that educated people not taking mental health seriously. So she's spoken on two issues. One, of course, on that 90-hour work pitch, and the second, the misogynist remarks that were made by the L&T MD. Let's also read out that statement from Harsh Goenka, the India Inc. leader. He's chairman of RPG Enterprises. He's known to be very vocal about these issues. He says, why not rename Sunday to Sun Duty? So making it amply clear that yes, 90-hour work week is definitely not feasible. He's also gone on to say that work-life balance isn't optional, it's essential. So making a stand clear that there needs to be a balance when it comes to personal life and workplace. Rohit Kapoor, the Swiggy CEO, says that you do not need to hustle and work till 11 a.m. So Rohit Kapoor, Swiggy CEO, also making that statement that some days you need to work till late, but not daily. So definitely it cannot be a new norm. We cannot make this the new normal. Working 90 hours a day or even 90 hours a week or even 70 hours a week for that matter. Rhythm, over to you. But yes, these statements that came in from the L&T chairman, Sridhar Vemu or even Narayan Murthy for that matter, they only highlight that there are some leaders who are trying to make it a new normal, working for 90 hours a week or even 70 hours a week. Rhythm.
Oh yes, former Union Minister, viewers, BJP leader KJ Alphonse on L&T chairman 90-hour week has also commented, I think the statement makes no sense. When I was the Union Minister, he says, I used to go to the office alone on Sunday, but expecting it from everyone is way too much. He says, demanding from the entire country that one should work 90 hours is ridiculous. Former Union Minister questions the 90-hour week suggestion. He says that he used to go to work on Sundays alone, but expecting it from everyone is too much. And let's go across to that reaction coming in from him.
See, India is only a 3 trillion economy. I mean, China is much, much bigger, 5 times, 6 times bigger. And the Honorable Prime Minister wants India to become a developed nation by 2047. Our per capita income is below 2,400, while that of China is around 13,500, and Malaysia, Indonesia is about 25,000, US is about 70,000. Therefore, India needs to work much harder to become a developed nation. I have no doubts on this. I've been an IAS officer. I worked extremely hard in the IAS for 27 years. Then I quit and joined politics. When I joined politics, I worked even much harder than as an IAS officer. Then when I became a union minister, I was sleeping maybe 4 hours a day, not more than 5 hours. I don't think any minister in the Modi government sleeps more than 5 hours. They work more than 18 hours. So hard work is extremely important. I would go even on a Sunday to my office as a union minister, but no staff. I said, no staff will come. I will go alone to my office. That's a day for me to think, for me to organize my ideas. But I don't really think that's fair to the rest of the employees. I think we need a balance. I think people need to really balance between family, happiness, their children, and all that is extremely important.
It's a debate that sparked off a controversy. Joining Samiksha and me, Dr. Ranjit Mehta, CEO, Secretary General, PhD, CCI. Mr. Mehta, I ask you your first comments, your first views on this. Is this feasible? Is this overwhelming? Is this going to be helping in a work-personal life balance?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me here. It's a very important subject. I think that expecting from the employees to work for around 90 hours is beyond imagination. I understand that. However, I feel that it is very important to work hard in today's highly competitive environment. At the same time, many studies show that when people work for long hours continuously, then their efficiency also goes down. At the same time, their motivation levels also go down. So now people at the top, when they are CEOs, in that case, they have a privilege, rather I would say, working for 90 hours. But the same cannot be expected from the employees who are growing, who have their children to look after, who have other responsibilities, social responsibilities back at home. I think that if we inspire people rather than forcing them to work for 90 hours, it is the inspiration of a leader, if that can be there, then people automatically, when you are inspired to work for longer hours, it is coming from within. So then that way the productivity will also go up. However, making it a new norm or making it a normal routine is not sustainable in the long run. So the productivity will go down, efficiency will decrease. So therefore, it is very important to have that work-life balance. You cannot compare. Most CEOs, they work for very long hours, I understand. I also work for more than 70 hours, but that does not mean that I expect people to work in the same manner, because we have to have some standard timing so that they, like in a city like Delhi or Mumbai, where people spend around 4 to 5 hours just on commuting, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. So it is very difficult to expect these kind of things. However, I believe that hard work is extremely important. This kind of culture needs to be created in the organization by motivating people, by inspiring people, by giving them rewards for what they are doing. Sure. Not that it can be a new norm.
Yes, but doctor, hypothetically, if we were to assume that if one works for 90 hours a week, do you even think that's feasible? One, and also talk to us about this burnout here, which we have been speaking about. How many hours does one really need to work every day or even a week for that matter to ensure that there is no burnout, so as to say?
First of all, working for 90 hours is not sustainable, because people of all ages are there in the workforce. There are people who are newly married. There are people who are doing many other, in the sense they have many responsibilities back at home. There are people who come from very far off places at work. So therefore, this is not sustainable in the long run. Secondly, definitely if you really by force or by, if you really force people to work for longer hours, in that case, there are then heartburns, there are stress levels go up. In that case, employees' efficiency finally will come down. I think, this cannot be a rule. However, I think that, it has to be self-driven by the employee. The motivation level has to be so high that people are ready to put in that much of work. Because reward system, it is both ways. Like if the reward systems are so high that people are really working, there are many people who work. I know many of the people in organizations in my whole career I have seen. They have been working very, very hard. But at the same time, they are being paid for that. So to expect this from each and every employee, I think it is beyond imagination. It is not sustainable in the long run. This is not going to work. finally people have their families.
That's
they have
right, Dr. Mehta.
other things to do at home, because
Yes.
as a human being we are social people,
And
right?
as you're speaking, Dr. Mehta, the fact of the matter is that this is something that has to be left for each one to be taking a decision on themselves. I thank you for being with us. I also want to move on. Viewers, call us if you have any views. One of the callers who's joining us from Pune, Shubhangi. Shubhangi, your first words on a 90-hour week. Do you think this is progressive? Do you think nation building can be helped by this?
Yeah, good evening. No, I really don't think so that nation building is depend on this, because I don't think it's more hours, more productivity. In fact, it might just reduce. You should work hard, not work long. Long period of time can burn you out, and everybody requires a work and life balance. So all these big people like Elon Musk or Narayan Murthy or Mr. Goenka who want more productivity should consider that they can, instead of this one set of people working for 90 hours, they should have 3 sets of people working for 8 hours a day, and this way they can have 24 hours a day and 168 hours a week, and that way productivity will grow. Plus, it's a win-win situation for an employer, for an employee. Everybody is happy, and nobody gets burned out, and the employees have proper work and life balance. They have good health, good well-being. It's good for their peace of mind. So I really don't think that 90 hours a week is feasible in most of the cases.
Yes, appreciate you speaking to us, Shubhangi. Let's go across to Krishna. He's a caller joining us from Bengaluru. Krishna, do you have enough motivation at your workplace to work for 90 hours a week?
Good evening. See, the answer is, I think, very simple. 90 hours a week for 365 days a year is not something which is sustainable, and I don't think that's what Mr. Subramaniam talked about or Mr. Narayan Murthy talked about. So I have worked in corporate for certain periods of time in the work schedules. Certain products have to be released to the market. Customers are waiting. And there are a couple of weeks where, me and my team have worked for 16 hours a day. But that's for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks max, and not more than that. But then, of course, everyone takes a break for a couple of days, a compensatory off, and those kind of things, and they rejuvenate and come back. So I don't think anybody intends to, and it's not practical and sustainable, as the previous speaker said. But at the same time, if we are talking about 8 hours a week, the communist way of working, I think those days are over. I don't think that's going to be possible. The labor law says 48 hours a week. Yes, 48 hours a week is the peak. But there are definitely organizations which will require you to work at specific periods of time. And I have done it myself. I asked my team to work, but then they will be adequately compensated by giving time off for all the extra hours they put in. They go with take a break, go with the family. They are incentivized for doing that, taking that break, all that. But
that's right.
If we are going to say
Yes.
that we are going to form a norm across the country, and we are all
Absolutely,
going
and I thank our guests for joining us today. Also, the calls that are coming in. This is something we're going to continue looking at on whether this is really going to help in nation building. The Work for Life debate sparked off a big controversy. It's something Samiksha and I are going to come back to you, viewers, throughout the day to get you more updates on it. Now, moving on to the other top focus. A massive fire broke out in a 3-story building in Jammu in Kashmir's Ramban. According to sources, properties worth 75 lakh rupees were gutted in the blaze. Take a look at this report for more.
A massive fire ripped through a 3-story building in Jammu's Ramban. According to sources, the fire engulfed the entire building in the Dungal Budni area of Rajgarh Tehsil, reducing properties worth rupees 75 lakh to ashes.
A massive fire has engulfed a house in the Rajgarh Tehsil of the Ramban district late last night. The incident has been reported at the house of Abdul Jabbar. This was a 3-story house, and his property worth more than 75 lakh has been razed to the ashes. The cause of the incident is being probed by the Jammu and Kashmir police.
According to the building's landlord, the fire spread in no time, consuming the entire structure within hours. However, no casualties were reported in the fire. A probe was underway to determine the cause of the fire.
Viewers, as we come to the end of the news week, let's record and summarize with Note Assist using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said with an expected turnout of 40 crore devotees this year, the Mahakumbh is projected to generate up to 2 crore lakh in economic growth. In addition, he also revealed this year 2024 has already seen over 16 crore devotees visiting Kashi Vishwanath in Varanasi and more than 13.55 crore devotees in Ayodhya from January to September. And there you have it, the precise reading of the news in a simple format using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. We'll be back with the headlines in a few minutes.
आइस बोला था लाने को, लद्दाख चला गया। पूछा फोन पे इतना बिजी क्यों है, तो क्या बोला तू? हाँ, माउंटेन्स वर कॉलिंग।
डॉक्टर जहांगीर उस दिन सनसेट देखने छज्जे पे चढ़ा, टूट गया।
हाँ, तो किसने बोला घर की दीवार पे रॉक क्लाइंबिंग करने को?
सफीना बदतमीजी।
समझ गया। मेरे पास आप दोनों की प्रॉब्लम की मेडिसिन है। इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
Virat Kohli's poor form in the recently concluded Border Gavaskar Trophy series has left many contemplating just how much is left in the tank of the former India captain. Kohli scored 1 century at Perth, but the rest of his tour is best remembered for him consistently being dismissed by balls pitched outside the off stump. And while Kohli's efforts have not been in doubt, so pronounced have been his struggles that some have concluded that this is a mental block that he cannot possibly overcome. But he has now been offered some advice by former Australia captain Ricky Ponting, who believes that Kohli is trying too hard and that, in part, explains his struggles. The challenge is, and I can see it with Virat Kohli now, you can see how much he wants it. He's trying so hard that actually makes batting harder. The harder you try sometimes with batting, the less success you're going to have, Ponting said. Ponting added that Kohli is seemingly trying hard not to poke at balls outside the off stump, but said he believes a mental block has formed that leads to him falling for the same trap. Even the way that he's getting out, you can
Ladies and gentlemen, with the voting day for Delhi elections approaching closer, the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party have indulged in a massive face-off. The latest over fake votes claimed by Kejriwal, Delhi BJP today held protest against AAP for allegedly making fake claims regarding registration of votes and voters from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar in the electoral rolls ahead of assembly polls. Hundreds of protesters were seen raising slogans against AAP Supremo Arvind Kejriwal, with some attempting to breach the security barricade near Kejriwal's residence.
ये सोच एक सत्ताधारी, एक राज्य की सत्ताधारी दल के प्रमुख की ये सोच, और वो भी एक ऐसे राज्य की सत्ताधारी पार्टी जो कि देश की राजधानी है। आम आदमी पार्टी के प्रमुख पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने जिस तरीके से यूपी बिहार के लोगों को लेकर आपत्तिजनक टिप्पणी करने का काम किया है, इसको कतई बर्दाश्त नहीं किया जा सकता। यूपी बिहार के लोगों को फर्जी कहना, और ये किस तरीके की बांटने की सोच है। क्या चाहते हैं पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी कि भारत में अब ड्यूअल सिटीजनशिप लागू कर दी जाए? क्या आप देश के नागरिक अलग और राज्य के नागरिक अलग? ये देश की वो राजधानी है जहां पे देश भर से लोग आते हैं, और किस तरीके का संदेश आप उस राजधानी से आप देना चाह रहे हैं?
बिहार और यूपी के लोग, दिल्ली कोई अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की जागीर नहीं है। दिल्ली इस देश की राजधानी है। एक तरफ तो जब नड्डा साहब कहते हैं, रोहिंग्या का सवाल उठाते हैं, तो उसके साथ पूर्वांचली को जोड़ते हैं, और दूसरी तरफ बिहार और उत्तर प्रदेश के लोगों के बारे में अपमानजनक, अपमानित करने वाला बयान वो देते हैं। बिहार और यूपी के लोग अपने सम्मान और स्वाभिमान के साथ जीते हैं, और इस बार के चुनाव में बिहार और उत्तर प्रदेश के लोगों को जो अपमानित करने का काम अरविंद केजरीवाल ने इस तरह का बयान देके किया है, उनको उस बार पता चलेगा कि उनका कोई लेना देना पूर्वांचली से, किसी भी दिल्ली वासी से, किसी से उनका कोई लेना देना नहीं है। उनका लेना देना है किस तरह सत्ता में आना और कमाई करना और घोटाला करना।
Now it all started with Kejriwal accusing the BJP of manipulating the electoral rolls by registering fake voters from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar in his constituency, New Delhi, ahead of assembly polls. Meanwhile, BJP in their retort to AAP's allegations have said Kejriwal insulted people from UP and Bihar by calling them fake voters, and that the voters of Delhi will teach them a lesson. Listen in.
हमने कभी भी फर्जी वोट बनवाने की बात नहीं की। हमने हमेशा कहा यूपी, बिहार, पूर्वांचल के रहने वाले, दिल्ली में रहने वाले 30-30, 40-40 साल से रहने वाले लोगों के वोट नहीं कटने चाहिए। हमने ये कहा। क्या भारतीय जनता पार्टी को इस नाम पे छूट मिलनी चाहिए कि वो दिल्ली में यहां फर्जी वोट बनवा ले?
उनको अपमानित करने का काम किया है तो वो जेपी नड्डा हैं, जिन्होंने पार्लियामेंट के अंदर उनको रोहिंग्या बुलाया, उनको घुसपैठिया बुलाया। तो भाजपा मुद्दे पर जवाब दें, क्यों इतनी भारी तादाद में ये लोगों के नाम काटने की, नाम एडिशन की, नाम डिलीशन की एप्लीकेशन आ रही है।
दिल्ली के पूर्वांचल के नेताओं से पूछना चाहता हूँ, जब पार्लियामेंट में जेपी नड्डा जी ने पूर्वांचलियों को घुसपैठिया बता दिया था, तब मनोज तिवारी कहाँ छिपे बैठे थे? इनका पूर्वांचल मोर्चा कहाँ गायब हो गया था? जब महाराष्ट्र के अंदर इनकी सरकार द्वारा, सरकार के दौरान, और गुजरात में जहां इनकी सरकार है वहां पे पूर्वांचल के भाइयों को पीट पीट के भगाया जा रहा था, तब ये पूर्वांचल मोर्चा कहाँ गया था? ये मनोज तिवारी कहाँ गायब हो गए थे?
केजरीवाल भ्रम पैदा कर रहे हैं। चुनाव आयोग स्पष्ट कर चुका है, किसी तरह की कोई ऐसी बातचीत नहीं हुई है। लेकिन केजरीवाल साहब, आप वही है ना जो पूर्वांचल का लगातार अपमान करते रहे। आप कहते थे कि पूर्वांचल से 500 का टिकट कराकर लोग दिल्ली आ जाते हैं और यहां मुफ्त इलाज करते हैं और यहां राशन तोड़ते हैं। आपने बार बार पूर्वांचल का अपमान किया।
तो जब कह रहे थे कल की बिहारियों की वोट बना दी, यूपी वालों की वोट बना दी, अरविंद केजरीवाल जी चिल्ला चिल्ला के पूर्वांचल के लोगों का इस तरह से तिरस्कार कर रहे थे, उनको कभी बिहारी बता रहे थे, कभी उनको यूपी वाले बता रहे थे। बड़ी शर्म की बात है। क्या दिल्ली के अंदर भाजपा यूपी के और बिहार के वोटर की वोट नहीं बना सकता? ये अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की घटिया सोच है कि वो अगर तो आता है बांग्लादेश का घुसपैठिया, रोहिंगा, तो उसको स्वागत करते हैं, और अगर यूपी से और बिहार से आता तो उनको अलग अलग नामों से पुकारते हैं। ये बड़ी शर्म की बात है अरविंद केजरीवाल और उनके साथियों के लिए।
It is evident that Mr. Kejriwal and his colleagues are really hassled, and perhaps they are seeing the writing on the wall. That is why these odd, strange statements are emanating from them. All sorts of excuses, all sorts of statements. Vote deletion as an excuse. Sometimes they are talking about the Purvanchal people, people who are voters of Delhi, who have contributed to the growth of Delhi. These kind of things, should they speak about them? It's condemnable.
जो हिंदू नेता है जो अब तक रामलला के दर्शन नहीं कर गए, क्यों नहीं गए? और क्या वो लोग अब कुंभ की सिग्निफिकेंस को समझ पाएंगे? देखिए, हमारे यहाँ बाध्यकारी नहीं है, यही तो हमारी महानता है। हम बाध्य नहीं करते। भाई जो जाएगा पुण्य का भागीदार बनेगा, जो नहीं जाएगा अपने कर्मों की सजा भुगतेगा। वो अब तक रामलला के दर्शन करने क्यों नहीं गए? क्योंकि नैतिक रूप से इतना साहसी नहीं है।
Virat Kohli's poor form in the recently concluded Border Gavaskar Trophy series has left many contemplating just how much is left in the tank of the former India captain. Kohli scored 1 century at Perth, but the rest of his tour is best remembered for him consistently being dismissed by balls pitched outside the off stump. And while Kohli's efforts have not been in doubt, so pronounced have been his struggles that some have concluded that this is a mental block that he cannot possibly overcome. But he has now been offered some advice by former Australia captain Ricky Ponting, who believes that Kohli is trying too hard and that, in part, explains his struggles. The challenge is, and I can see it with Virat Kohli now, you can see how much he wants it. He's trying so hard that actually makes batting harder. The harder you try sometimes with batting, the less success you're going to have, Ponting said. Ponting added that Kohli is seemingly trying hard not to poke at balls outside the off stump, but said he believes a mental block has formed that leads to him falling for the same trap. Even the way that he's getting out, you can see he doesn't want to be playing at those balls. He's trying not to do it, but there's some mental block there that makes him feel for that one outside the off stump, Ponting said. So what exactly is the solution? In Ponting's opinion, he believes Kohli should take a break and try to come back mentally refreshed. He had a mental break in the past where he stepped away for a while and then came back and found the love for the game again. If he wants to continue playing Test match cricket, he might just need to have a little spell outside for a while, Ponting said. Kohli's form has been up and down across formats in recent years, but many thought his retirement from T20I cricket would lead to him finding more form in Test cricket. However, he has struggled majorly in all the 10 tests that India played to conclude their games in the 2023-25 edition of the World Test Championship. And given the next WTC final will be held in 2027, by which point Kohli will be 39, it is easy to see why there have been rumblings about phasing him out from Test 2. That is perhaps the next great challenge that lies in front of current head coach Gautam Gambhir, figuring out exactly when to phase out Virat Kohli.
Some news in brief now. In a landmark achievement, the Indian Navy sailing vessel Tarini with 2 women officers successfully crossed international date line, marking a significant step in its global circumnavigation journey.
We're about to cross the international date line. The time right now is 1900 hours of 9 Jan 2025. So as we cross the international date line, we will gain 24 hours, which means we will shift our clocks from 1900 hours of 9 Jan 2025 back to 1900 hours of 8 Jan 2025. That means we get to live this day all over again.
Wonderful news there. Now, viewers, a thick layer of fog enveloped the national capital this morning with visibility reducing to zero. Delhi recorded a temperature of 9.6 degrees Celsius at 5:30 a.m. today, as per the data of the IMD. As per predictions of the Meteorological Department, the minimum expected today is 6 degrees, while the maximum temperature to expect to hover around 20 degrees Celsius with very dense fog. A devastating fire engulfed a 3-story building in the Dungal-Bundi area of Tehsil Rajgarh district Ramban, leaving property worth 75 lakhs reduced to ashes. The fire spread uncontrollably, consuming the entire structure within hours. No casualties were reported, but the families have suffered immense losses. Authorities are investigating the causes. BJP National President JP Nadda on Thursday targeted AAP chief Arvind Kejriwal over his remarks on fake voters and said people of Delhi will definitely give him a reply by uprooting him from power. Ahead of assuming office on 20th of Jan, US President Donald Trump has once again claimed that Russian President Putin wants to meet him. Here's that report.
US President-elect Donald Trump has claimed that a meeting is being arranged between him and Russian President Vladimir Putin. However, Trump has not provided a specific timeline for the talks.
President Putin wants to meet. He's said that even publicly. And we have to get that war over with. That's a bloody mess.
Trump's return to the White House has raised hopes for diplomatic resolution to end Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. Trump's advisors have reportedly floated proposals that could see large parts of Ukraine effectively ceded to Russia for the foreseeable future. Since the Russian invasion began, the United States under Democratic President Joe Biden has committed over $175 billion in aid to Ukraine, including over $60 billion in security assistance. However, it is uncertain if the aid will continue at that pace under Trump, who has said he wants to bring the war to a swift end.
There's a raging debate nationwide over the 90-hour work week statement given by the L&T chairperson. We'll get you the latest reactions on that. Also, the top story coming from the national capital, Yogi Adityanath leads several rallies. He begins the campaign blitz ahead of the assembly elections in Delhi for the BJP. We'll get you all that and much more at 6 p.m. on Live and Breaking with me, Rakhine Mishra.
Elaborate arrangements have been made for this year Vaikunth Ekadasi by TTD and the district administration. Sufficient police personnel were deployed at all the counters in Tirupati. There were 9 counters and 1 in Tirumala. We kept holding areas as well this year additionally, so that there is easy access into the queue counters. Unfortunately, at this particular location in Bairagi Pattada, there was some miscommunication as to the opening of the gate. So at around 7:45, when they opened the gate suddenly, there were, in fact, the gate was initially open to let one person go out because they were not feeling well, and it was opened and then closed. Then there was a commotion among the people that gates are being opened. So then they rushed towards the gate, and then again they had to open the gate. This is where the lapse has occurred. So unfortunate incident, but we have taken all the measures. Honorable CM also has spoken to all of us, and he has asked us to make all measures to ensure the injured are taken care of. Honorable CM himself is coming now to visit the patients and to the location and to review the situation. The situation has been brought under control at yesterday 9:30 itself. And in all the queue counters, the tickets have been distributed by 12:30 a.m., 1 a.m. It was completed, in fact. So everything is under control. There is no any other issue since 9:30 p.m. yesterday. So in right time, all the injured have been brought to the hospital and they have been treated. This is though it is an every year event, this year additional forces have been deployed both in Tirumala and Tirupati by the TTD administration and also the district administration. New measures have been taken up. All facilities have been provided. I don't think there will be any other incident. We have taken all the measures now. Yesterday, whatever has happened was unfortunate. There's some lapse in communication there. We have tightened up everything. No further lapses.
More RAF or police or anybody else's support?
It is not required right now. We are having sufficient force. Totally 5 persons have died at that particular stampede, and 1 person not related to the stampede has died. I mean, it's not out of stampede. She was unwell. So the person is from Salem, 1 person. Whoever is not related to the stampede, and out of the 5, 1 person is from Palachi. And then the remaining 3 are from Visakhapatnam and 1 from Narsipatnam. We have informed the relatives. Postmortem is underway. The deceased will be sent to their respective locations. It will start from 10:30 to 11 a.m. today. Yesterday it took some time for identification because we had to reach upon to their relatives, and not because of the postmortem has not been delayed because of it. Postmortem generally happens in the morning. We cannot do in the night.
Viewers, if you're wondering what the weather in your city is today, here's the weather update brought to you by Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, powered by Galaxy AI.
There's a raging debate nationwide over the 90-hour work week statement given by the L&T chairperson. We'll get you the latest reactions on that. Also, the top story coming from the national capital, Yogi Adityanath leads several rallies. He begins the campaign blitz ahead of the assembly elections in Delhi for the BJP. We'll get you all that and much more at 6 p.m. on Live and Breaking with me, Rakshita Mishra.
Elaborate arrangements have been made for this year Vaikuntha Ekadasi by TTD and the district administration. Sufficient police personnel were deployed at all the counters in Tirupati. There were 9 counters and 1 in Tirumala. We kept holding areas as well this year additionally, so that there is easy access into the queue counters. Unfortunately, at this particular location, Bairagi Pattada, there was some miscommunication as to the opening of the gate. So at around 7:45, when they opened the gate suddenly, in fact, the gate was initially open to let one person go out because they were not feeling well, and it was opened and then closed. Then there was a commotion among the people that gates are being opened. So then they rushed towards the gate, and then again they had to open the gate. This is where the lapse has occurred. So unfortunate incident, but we have taken all the measures. Honorable CM also has spoken to all.
There's a raging debate nationwide over the 90-hour work week statement given by the L&T chairperson. We'll get you the latest reactions on that. Also, the top story coming from the national capital, Yogi Adityanath leads several rallies. He begins the campaign blitz ahead of the assembly elections in Delhi for the BJP. We'll get you all that and much more at 6 p.m. on Live and Breaking with me, Rakhine State. A very good evening, viewers. You're watching Republic TV and I am Rakhine State with you. And at 6 p.m. we are going to get you a power-packed bulletin tracking all the top stories of the day at this hour, and also the fastest live updates, breaking news only on Republic TV, viewers. We'll start with the top story of the day that we are tracking, the 90-hour work week debate. If 70-hour work week debate had triggered such a big row, a controversy, it's now the L&T chairperson's statement, viewers, that is now dividing the industry leaders, sports persons, people from the world of entertainment, all reactions coming in. What do you think of it? Of course, you can always tell us online on the platforms. Right now, we will be tracking this story, the second one, of course, the face-off in Delhi. The latest round is on the Purvanchalis, BJP versus the Aam Aadmi Party ahead of the assembly elections. Also, Yogi Adityanath joins in as the star campaigner. He enters this campaign for BJP. He leads it with the mega rallies planned in Delhi. He's in Delhi today. We'll get you the more visuals from that, him meeting the Prime Minister as well. Let's take a look at the headlines at 6. Larsen and Toubro chairperson Subramaniam calls for a 90-day work week, sparking a massive debate on work-life balance. After BJP claims the Aam Aadmi Party insulted the voters of Purvanchal, Chirag Paswan wades in, says Kejriwal is frustrated. UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath to be the star campaigner in the national capital ahead of the Delhi assembly elections.
पॉलिटिक्स में आने का मतलब चुनाव लड़ना ही जरूरी थोड़ा है जी। तो लोकतंत्र की एक प्रक्रिया है जी कि मौका मिलेगा लड़ लीजिए। काम तो है जन सामान्य के दिलों को जीतना, और जन सामान्य के दिल जीतने के लिए जिंदगी उनके बीच में जीनी पड़ती है जी। जिंदगी को उनके साथ जोड़ना पड़ता है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi makes his podcast debut on Zero Dha. Co-founder Nikhil Kamat's show gets candid about hardships and success. Viewers, just take a close look at this statement that we are going to now read out for you. This is the debate that is raging across the country, the 90-hour week. What do you do sitting at home? This is one part of the statement. by Mr. Subramaniam, the LNT chairperson. What do you do sitting at home? The next one. How long can you stare at your wife? How long can you stare at your wife on a Sunday? How long can wives stare at their husbands? This is another point of controversy that was part of his statement. Go to the office and start working. Chinese workers put in 90 hours a week. He also said that I wish I could make you work on Sundays as well. Now this comes after Narayan Murthy's 70-hour work week statement that had, of course, ruffled a lot of feathers. People were debating left, right and centre, but this is a 90-hour work week proposal by another industry leader. And for a little discussion on that, viewers, we have special guests joining us on the broadcast. Right now, viewers, I'm being joined by Dr. Falguni Vasavara, who is a motivational speaker. She is a TEDx speaker. And she has a very strong opinion on this. And we are also being joined by Dr. Sameer Gupta, Director of Cardiology, joining us from Noida. Thank you so much, both of you. I'll just start with Dr. Vasavara. Ma'am, this is a statement now that has divided the netizens, and there are a lot of criticism that is coming in, but we have some people like Harsh Goenka also from the industry who are criticizing this statement. Ma'am, how do you see this?
Extremely insensitive, especially when coming from the top, because whatever comes from the top defines the culture of the organization, and the toxicity will be too much to handle if people at top have such opinions. Lacks empathy, completely tosses out the work-life balance debate issue, mental health, physical health, stress, anxiety, and suddenly brings a quantity over a quality kind of a representation of the work culture and policies as told by the leader of Larsen and Toubro. I'm taken aback because these are men sitting at top positions, decision makers. And when he says, what will you do staring at each other, maybe the partners at home on Sunday, this screams of his privileged life, right? And this privileged life is a problem when it makes other things invisible to you. There are women with children, there are men who are caregivers to their families, there are tons of jobs to be done to live your life. So I do believe that work is a very important part of your life. It makes your living more comfortable and more easy. But work is not the only part of life and living. There is life beyond work that needs to be lived well by both the genders. And I think this is extremely a problematic statement. And this is an ideal case scenario of how you are not using your privileged position to make better work environment, culture, and ethics for your employees rather than tossing it around and blinding yourself.
Right, ma'am. Dr. Gupta, I would like to know your opinion on this because as a cardiologist, as someone from the medical field, it actually takes a toll, not mentally and physically also. In fact, there was a UN report also that said that, excessively working, for such long stretches of, hours, it could actually kill you. It was a sort of a wake-up call for many people, and it actually had a lot of coverage. What do you really feel about this statement by Mr. Subramanian?
There's a lot of data to show that working long hours increases the element of stress in your body. And this stress is not just mental stress. Obviously you're working long hours, you're getting sleep deprived. If you're working 90 hours a week, if you're working a 7-day work week, it's about 13 hours. If you're working a 6-day work week, that's about 15 hours of work. So you're basically working from 6 a.m. to almost 9, 10 p.m. And this can cause significant increase in stress in your body. It increases the risk of high blood pressure. Chronic stress can lead to high blood pressure. Your circadian rhythm, which is your sleep, also gets affected. It can increase your risk of diabetes. It can increase your risk of heart disease in the long term. And also you make poor lifestyle choices, right? When you're working such long hours, you're not going to concentrate that much on your diet. Your exercise may get compromised. Your lifestyle will get compromised. And I'm not talking about the personal life with your family. That's very, very important to have a good holistic happiness in your life. You identify yourself not just from what you do for a living, but also your family, your wife, your parents, your daughter, your son, your children, your family, your social circle, that all gets affected. And there's a lot of data to show that those people who have close family bonds live longer. Those people who have close family bonds, they have a lower risk of heart disease. So, so stress definitely increases. Your lifestyle gets affected, your risk of diabetes, high blood pressure, that gets affected. That can increase and in turn can lead to an increase in heart disease, heart attacks, and even death.
Absolutely, of course. It's of course a cause of concern, and that's why we have this debate over the social media. And of course, we will continue to have more conversations on this on our channel, viewers. But thank you so much, Dr. Vasavada and Dr. Gupta, for joining us with your inputs and your thoughts on this story. Right now, we will quickly shift our focus to the other stories of the day that we are tracking. We go back to the politics. And ladies and gentlemen, with the voting day for Delhi elections approaching closer, BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party have indulged in a massive face-off now. The latest war is over the fake voter claim by Arvind Kejriwal. Now, Delhi BJP unit today held massive protests against Aam Aadmi Party for allegedly making fake claims regarding registration of voters from people from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar in the electoral rolls. Now, ahead of the polls, hundreds of protesters from the BJP were seen raising slogans against the Aam Aadmi Party supremo Arvind Kejriwal, with even some attempting to breach the security barricade near Kejriwal's residence. First up, let's take a listen in to what Arvind Kejriwal exactly said and what was LJP MP Chirag Paswan's retort.
यूपी आसपास के स्टेट से ला के फर्जी वोट बनवा रहे हैं ये लोग। तो हमने उनको ये कहा कि इस तरह के लार्ज स्केल पे एडिशन और डिलीशन हो रही है, तो 23,000 ये और 5,500 ये 18.5% वोट अगर किसी विधानसभा की इधर से उधर कर दी जाएंगी तो फिर चुनाव थोड़ी है, फिर तो केवल तमाशा है, नाटक है।
आम आदमी पार्टी के प्रमुख पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने जिस तरीके से यूपी बिहार के लोगों को लेकर आपत्तिजनक टिप्पणी करने का काम किया है, इसको कतई बर्दाश्त नहीं किया जा सकता। यूपी बिहार के लोगों को फर्जी कहना, और ये किस तरीके की बांटने की सोच है। क्या चाहते हैं पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी कि भारत में अब ड्यूअल सिटीजनशिप लागू कर दी जाए? क्या आप देश के नागरिक अलग और राज्य के नागरिक अलग? ये देश की वो राजधानी है जहां पे देश भर से लोग आते हैं, और किस तरीके का संदेश आप उस राजधानी से आप देना चाह रहे हैं?
And now the attack is this war is only escalating, viewers, and Kejriwal has claimed to attempting to remove 5,500 votes in New Delhi Assembly constituency, adding that the BJP is bringing people from UP and Bihar to create fake voters. Take a listen in to more reactions that have come in now from the Aam Aadmi Party first.
हमने कभी भी फर्जी वोट बनवाने की बात नहीं की। हमने हमेशा कहा यूपी बिहार पूर्वांचल के रहने वाले, दिल्ली में रहने वाले 30-30, 40-40 साल से रहने वाले लोगों के वोट नहीं कटने चाहिए। हमने ये कहा। क्या भारतीय जनता पार्टी को इस नाम पे छूट मिलनी चाहिए कि वो दिल्ली में यहां फर्जी वोट बनवा ले?
उनको अपमानित करने का काम किया है तो वो जेपी नड्डा हैं, जिन्होंने पार्लियामेंट के अंदर उनको रोहिंग्या बुलाया, उनको घुसपैठिया बुलाया। तो भाजपा मुद्दे पर जवाब दें, क्यों इतनी भारी तादाद में ये लोगों के नाम काटने की, नाम एडिशन की, नाम डिलीशन की एप्लीकेशन आ रही है।
दिल्ली के पूर्वांचल के नेताओं से पूछना चाहता हूं, जब पार्लियामेंट में जेपी नड्डा जी ने पूर्वांचलियों को घुसपैठिया बता दिया था, तब मनोज तिवारी कहाँ छिपे बैठे थे? इनका पूर्वांचल मोर्चा कहाँ गायब हो गया था? जब महाराष्ट्र के अंदर इनकी सरकार द्वारा, सरकार के दौरान, और गुजरात में जहां इनकी सरकार है वहां पे पूर्वांचल के भाइयों को पीट पीट के भगाया जा रहा था, तब ये पूर्वांचल मोर्चा कहाँ गया था? ये मनोज तिवारी कहाँ गायब हो गए थे?
So now BJP, viewers, is playing this up by saying that the Aam Aadmi Party has insulted the people of Purvanchal, the people of Bihar, and they also say that they are going to get a befitting reply by the people in Delhi in this election. Listen in to the BJP reactions.
केजरीवाल भ्रम पैदा कर रहे हैं, चुनाव आयोग स्पष्ट कर चुका है, किसी तरह की कोई ऐसी बातचीत नहीं हुई है। लेकिन केजरीवाल साहब, आप वही है ना जो पूर्वांचल का लगातार अपमान करते रहे। आप कहते थे कि पूर्वांचल से 500 का टिकट कराकर लोग दिल्ली आ जाते हैं और यहां मुफ्त इलाज करते हैं और यहां राशन तोड़ते हैं। आपने बार बार पूर्वांचल का अपमान किया।
तो जब कह रहे थे कल की बिहारियों की वोट बना दी, यूपी वालों की वोट बना दी, अरविंद केजरीवाल जी चिल्ला चिल्ला के पूर्वांचल के लोगों का इस तरह से तिरस्कार कर रहे थे, उनको कभी बिहारी बता रहे थे, कभी उनको यूपी वाले बता रहे थे। बड़ी शर्म की बात है। क्या दिल्ली के अंदर भाजपा यूपी के और बिहार के वोटर की वोट नहीं बना सकता? ये अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की घटिया सोच है कि वो अगर तो आता है बांग्लादेश का घुसपैठिया रोहिंगा तो उसको स्वागत करते हैं, और अगर यूपी से और बिहार से आता तो उनको अलग अलग नामों से पुकारते हैं। ये बड़ी शर्म की बात है अरविंद केजरीवाल और उनके साथियों के लिए।
It is evident that Mr. Kejriwal and his colleagues are really hassled, and perhaps they are seeing the writing on the wall. That is why these odd, strange statements are emanating from them. All sorts of excuses, all sorts of statements. Vote deletion as an excuse. Sometimes they are talking about the Purvanchal people who are voters of Delhi, who have contributed to the growth of Delhi. These kind of things, should they speak about them? It's condemnable.
Now, with less than a month to go for the Delhi elections, the BJP has decided to hold several rallies in the national capital, which are going to be led by the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, and also UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. Yes, Yogi Adityanath is going to be the star campaigner for the BJP, and today he is in the national capital. He has met the Prime Minister to invite him for the Mahakumbh as well. Now, to tell you more about this campaign plan of the blueprint that the BJP is going to follow, well, there are across 7 parliamentary constituencies, 11 districts and 33 tehsils. There are going to be the star campaigners who will be holding the campaign. Important point to note here is that ahead of the elections, and we will be getting you more live updates. We were from 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. I believe my colleague Harsha is joining us on the broadcast from outside the Prime Minister's residence. Harsha, well, Yogi Adityanath has now been given this big role. He has been a firebrand leader of the BJP, and now he's going to kickstart the poll blitz in the national capital for the assembly elections.
So yes, as far as the Delhi election is concerned, so all will be the star campaigners, and everyone is eyeing and who all could be the star campaigner for national capital for Delhi elections. As we very far know that the elections will are to happen on 5th of February, but before that, the leaders who will be the star face, that's more important, because already BJP CEC is today, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be reaching at around 7 o'clock. We saw the BJP core group meeting happening today afternoon. Strategically, BJP is focusing on the star campaign and also on the election manifesto. Exactly what could be the promises which will be made to the people of Delhi, to the public of Delhi. But before that, Yogi Adityanath being here in national capital is of lot of importance, because as we speak right now, Yogi Adityanath is here at 7 LKM to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It's been almost 1 hour that Yogi Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath is inside the residence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, because a very important meeting regarding Mahakumbh is taking place. We already know how grand is this Mahakumbh 2025 for everyone, and exactly after 12 years this Mahakumbh has come. Earlier it was in 2013, this time in 2025. All the ministers in UP have been given the duty and responsibility to go to each and every state and UT and meet the CM and Deputy CM and also extend the invitation. So right now it's been 1 hour. Yogi and Prime Minister Narendra Modi meeting underway. Back to you.
Of course, could be a massive boost for the BJP's campaign as it eyes to return to power after years. Thank you so much, Harsha, for joining us with those details coming in on that story. Right now, we will be getting you the final story of the day that we're tracking. Well, it's Prime Minister's podcast debut. His youth-first approach is more visible than ever before. Today, the Prime Minister made his podcast debut on Zerodha co-founder Nikhil Kamath's show. The 2-hour candid conversation that saw the Prime Minister sharing several anecdotes, including aspects on his childhood, education, entering politics, and even the hardest times in his life, personally and as a politician as well. and the world knows him to be one of the most successful politicians, political leaders, and India, of course, knows him as one of the most revolutionary prime ministers. The podcast, like never before, is a look into Narendra Modi, who exactly Narendra Modi is. Listen in to what the Prime Minister said when he was asked by Mr. Nikhil Kamath about his 3 terms as a Prime Minister.
पहली टर्म में तो लोग मुझे भी समझने की कोशिश करते थे और मैं भी दिल्ली को समझने की कोशिश कर रहा था। पहले और दूसरे टर्म में मैं बीते हुए कल के संदर्भ में सोचता था कि पहले यहां थे, अब यहां जाएंगे, पहले इतना होता था, अब इतना करेंगे। तीसरे टर्म में मेरी सोच का दायरा बदल चुका है, मेरा हौसला ज्यादा बुलंद हो चुका है, मेरे सपनों का विस्तार हो चुका है, मेरे अरमान बढ़ते चले जा रहे हैं। कहने का तात्पर्य है कि मुझे 2047 विकसित भारत मतलब कि भाषण नहीं है जी, एक एक चीज को, समस्याओं से मुक्ति, टॉयलेट 100% हो जाना चाहिए, बिजली 100% होनी चाहिए, नल से जल 100% हो जाना चाहिए। सामान्य मानवी को अपनी सरकार से मांगने के लिए भीख मांगनी पड़े क्या? ये कोई अंग्रेजों का राज है क्या? उसका हक है। 100% डिलीवरी होनी चाहिए, 100% लाभार्थियों को होनी चाहिए, 100% बेनिफिट पहुंचने चाहिए, कोई भेदभाव नहीं होगा। और वही तो सच्चा सामाजिक न्याय है, वही सच्चा सेक्युलरिज्म है। तो उन चीजों पे मैं बल देता रहता हूं और उसका ड्राइविंग फोर्स है एस्पिरेशनल इंडिया। मेरे लिए एआई का मतलब है एस्पिरेशनल इंडिया। और इसलिए अब मैं सोचता हूं कि मेरा 2047 में यहां है तो मैं 2025 में यहां हूं तो अभी कितना बाकी रहा। पहले सोचता था पहले से कितना आगे ही निकला, अब सोच रहा हूं यहां हूं कल तक कहां पहुंचूंगा। तो अब मेरे दिमाग में 2047 के संदर्भ में ही मेरी सोच विचार चलता है। तो मेरा तीसरा टर्म 2 टर्म से अनेक गुना अलग है, बिल्कुल बदलाव है और एक बहुत बड़े सपने वाला है।
आइस बोला था लाने को, लद्दाख चला गया, पूछा फोन पे इतना बिजी क्यों है, तो क्या बोला तू? हाँ, माउंटेन्स वर कॉलिंग।
डॉक्टर जहांगीर उस दिन सनसेट देखने छज्जे पे चढ़ा, टूट गया।
हाँ, तू किसने बोला घर की दीवार पे रॉक क्लाइंबिंग करने को?
सफीना बदतमीजी।
समझ गया। मेरे पास आप दोनों की प्रॉब्लम की मेडिसिन है। इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
If those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. There should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that. But there was, and many people are killed. They're no longer hostages. I have people from Israel and others calling, begging me to get, we had also people there from the United States, just so you know. They're holding some so-called hostages from the U.S. But I've had mothers come to me and fathers crying, can I get the body of their son back? Can I get the body of their daughter back? That beautiful girl where they threw her in the car, pulled her by her ponytail and threw her in the car like she was a sack of potatoes. I said, what happened to her? Sir, she's dead. Like a 19, 20-year-old beautiful girl. And the way they treated her. And I just say it this very simply. Steve's got a job to do. He's a great guy, great negotiator, great person. They respect him over there already. It's what we needed over there. We have people that know everything about the Middle East, but they can't speak properly. They don't know. He's a great negotiator. That's what I needed. I could have sent that gentleman right over there, Hussein. He's a great negotiator. There are people, they're rare. Great negotiators are very rare, like a great surgeon. But we have the right person. But I tell this, I don't want to hurt the negotiation. If the deal isn't done before I take office, which is now going to be 2 weeks, all hell will break out in the Middle East. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
You've done a great job.
Thank you.
I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. There should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that. But there was, and many people are killed. They're no longer hostages. I have people from Israel and others calling, begging me to get, we had also people there from the United States, just so you know. They're holding some so-called hostages from the U.S. But I've had mothers come to me and fathers crying, can I get the body of their son back? Can I get the body of their daughter back? That beautiful girl where they threw her in the car, pulled her by her ponytail and threw her in the car like she was a sack of potatoes. I said, what happened to her? Sir, she's dead. Like a 19, 20-year-old beautiful girl. And the way they treated her. And I just say it this very simply. Steve's got a job to do. He's a great guy, great negotiator, great person. They respect him over there already. It's what we needed over there. We have people that know everything about the Middle East, but they can't speak properly. They don't know. He's a great negotiator. That's what I needed. I could have sent that gentleman right over there, Hussein. He's a great negotiator. There are people, they're rare. Great negotiators are very rare, like a great surgeon. But we have the right person. But I tell this, I don't want to hurt the negotiation. If the deal isn't done before I take...
When in the newsroom, it is not that simple to summarize a story that is breaking. With the Notices feature powered by Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6, you can make a long story short and format it into a clear, easy-to-review summary. Galaxy AI is here.
Come to the end of this news wheel, let's record and summarize with Notices using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said with an unexpected turnout of 40 crore devotees this year, the Mahakumbh is projected to generate up to rupees 2 lakh crores in economic growth. In addition, Yogi Adityanath revealed that the year 2024 has already seen over 16 crore devotees visiting Kashi Vishwanath in Varanasi and more than 13.55 crore devotees in Ayodhya from January to September. A concise reading of the news in a simpler format using the Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. We'll be right back with headlines in just a few minutes.
उस दिन सनसेट देखने छज्जे पे चढ़ा, टूट गया।
हाँ, तो किसने बोला घर की दीवार पे रॉक क्लाइंबिंग करने को?
सफीना बदतमीजी।
समझ गया। मेरे पास आप दोनों की प्रॉब्लम की मेडिसिन है। इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
मोदी हैं महाकुंभ पे या तो चुप है, कुछ कह नहीं रहे हैं, खुलकर समर्थन नहीं कर रहे, या तो फिर वक्फ के साथ खड़े हैं जो कह रहे हैं कि कुंभ उनकी जमीन पे हो रही है।
मैं तो कभी कभी आश्चर्य होता है, ये वक्फ बोर्ड है या कोई माफियाओं का बोर्ड है, भू माफियाओं का बोर्ड बन गया। अरे याद रखना, एक एक इंच लैंड लेंगे।
सवाल मेरा है, वो कहते हैं कि ये हमारी धार्मिक अधिकार, हमारा धार्मिक अधिकार, हमारी धार्मिक अधिकार हमसे कैसे खींची जा सकती?
जब इनका बीज नहीं फूटा था, हमारे कुंभ की परंपरा उससे पहले से।
Thank you for joining us on Republic TV. Let's get you the news summarized. Using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. PM Narendra Modi makes podcast debut with Zerodha's Nikhil Kamath. From politics to social media, Prime Minister Modi talks about it all. BJP stages protest outside Kejriwal's residence over his insult to voters from Purvanchal. Republic gets back-to-back scoops on Delhi elections. Sources say Yogi Adityanath to be the star campaigner. L&T defends chief's 90-hour work week call. Economists, politicians and even actors wade into the debate. That was the news summarized on Noticist using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Let's start our big story for the day. Viewers, in a big breaking news, leaders are arriving at the BJP headquarters for the CEC meeting ahead of the Delhi polls. In fact, this is the third part of the meeting that took place earlier today in the morning at BJP chief JP Nadda's National Capital residence, where even the Union Home Minister pulled up to discuss the party's strategy going further into the pacing Delhi Assembly elections. Scheduled for the 5th of February, counting scheduled on the 8th of February, the BJP is going all out with meetings on meetings to discuss their strategy to pace into the Delhi Assembly polls to defeat the main contender, Aam Aadmi Party. We're also being joined by my colleague Harsha live from New Delhi to give us more updates on the story. These are the visuals of BJP President JP Nadda arriving for the BJP CEC meet. Harsha will join us shortly, live from New Delhi, from the heart of where the action is happening to get us more on the story. The BJP is slated to discuss its path moving forward into the rigorous Delhi Assembly polls. Now remember, viewers, just today, BJP held one more meeting, the part one of this CEC meeting at JP Nadda's New Delhi residence. Harsha, tell us more about this meeting. You've been tracking it for us since morning, and now another meeting has cropped up for the BJP, the CEC meeting, and they're going to discuss their path moving forward in the Delhi Assembly elections. Tell us more about this. So yes, the Chief Election Commission meeting, the Central Election Committee meeting, the Central Election Committee meeting of the BJP has commenced at the BJP national headquarters. All the leaders have arrived who are the core members of the CEC for further discussion on the Delhi candidates, the remaining seat candidates, and also on the manifesto and who all could be the star campaigners. The meeting will commence at around 7 o'clock because the weight is there of the Home Minister and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We have got to know all the important leaders have already arrived. BJP National President JP Nadda has already arrived. BJP Delhi President Viren Sachdeva has already arrived. Along with it, Vijendra Panda, Vinod Tavade, Dushyant Gautam, Atul Garg, Iqbal Singh Lalpura, Bhupendra Yadav, Arun Singh, Satyanarayan Jatia, Sudha Yadav, all have arrived at the BJP national headquarters for the CEC meeting. Also, the MPs will also be reaching there. Alka Gujar has arrived, Harsh Malhotra has arrived, and the other leaders are already on their way. They will be reaching the BJP national headquarters. This afternoon, we saw that BJP core group meeting took place at the residence of JP Nadda, where HM Home Minister was also there, and there the 7 MPs of Delhi were present in that core group meeting. And today, this CEC is happening late in the evening to decide on the remaining candidates for the Delhi election, the high-stake battle of national capital. Already the countdown has begun. The election is going to happen on 5th of February. The dates have been announced. The campaigns already have started in full swing. But yes, BJP is yet to release its manifesto, and for manifesto very precisely and strategically, the CEC has to decide what will be the poll promises what BJP is going to do to the people of national capital. And that is the reason this meeting will begin as soon as the Prime Minister will arrive at the national headquarters of the BJP. Everyone is waiting for HM and PM to arrive so that the meeting could commence. And once the meeting begins, there will be discussion on the remaining candidates for the remaining seats, which is yet not announced, as BJP till now has only released one list for Delhi. Remaining seats, remaining candidate list is yet to be decided, and for that, this very important meeting has been called. Back to you.
Right, Harsha. Thanks very much for joining us on the broadcast this evening. But for now, we'd be moving on to some other breaking news that we're tracking at this hour. Sukhbir Singh Badal, the chief of the Shiromani Akali Dal, has resigned, and his resignation has in fact been accepted by the committee of the Shiromani Akali Dal. He tendered his resignation over the cases of sacrilege during his tenure in Punjab. That's Sukhbir Singh Badal, the Shiromani Akali Dal chief, whose resignation has now been accepted. We're also being joined by my colleague Lalit live from Chandigarh to get us more on the story. Lalit, और बताइए इस बारे में, शिरोमणि अकाली दल के चीफ की रेजिग्नेशन, सुखबीर सिंह बादल की रेजिग्नेशन एक्सेप्ट कर ली गई है. आप हमें और डिटेल्स दीजिए इस स्टोरी के बारे में. ललित.
देखिए, अगर फिलहाल आपको बता दें कि जो सुखबीर सिंह बादल है, शिरोमणि अकाली दल के जो प्रधान थे, उन्होंने 16 नवंबर को इस्तीफ़ा है वो दिया था, और जो शिरोमणि अकाली दल की वर्किंग कमेटी है उसकी आज बैठक हुई है, जिसमें इस इस्तीफ़े को अब मंजूर कर दिया गया है. आपको बता दें कि जिस तरह से जो अकाल तख्त साहब है, जो कि सिखों की सबसे रिलीजियस बॉडी है, आदेश दिए गए थे कि जल्द जो इस्तीफ़ा है उसको मंजूर किया जाए. उसके साथ साथ जो पार्टी की रिकंस्ट्रक्शन है, जो पार्टी की मेंबरशिप है, उसको फिर से शुरू किया जाए. तो इस बाबत है जो इस्तीफ़ा पिछले 2 महीनों से लंबित पड़ा था कमेटी के पास, आज उस इस्तीफ़े को मंजूर कर दिया गया है. उसके साथ साथ सर्वसम्मति से ये भी कहा गया है कि 20 जनवरी के बाद है वो पंजाब में जो शिरोमणि अकाली दल की जो मेंबरशिप ड्राइव है वो शुरू की जाएगी. जी.
Right, Lalit, thanks very much for joining us on the broadcast this evening with all the updates that you got us. For now, viewers, it's time to move on and look at another very interesting controversy that has been sparked by the Larsen and Toubro chairperson S.N. Subramanian, who has advocated for a 90-hour work week, a whooping 90-hour work week. Netizens have gone crazy over the claim and they have been reacting ever since morning. He suggested a 90-hour work week and work even on Sundays to remain quote-unquote competitive. In the video, when asked why Larsen & Toubro required its employees to work on Sundays, Mr. Subramanian said, and I'm quoting him here, that I regret I'm not able to make you work on Sundays, to be honest. If I can make you work on Sundays, I will be more happy because I too work on Sundays. He further made a very misogynistic comment stating that how long can you stare at your wife? What do you do sitting at home? And how long can the wife stare at you? We're in fact being joined by an ex-L&T employee, Parvati Iyer, who was an L&T employee in the early 90s, who is going to speak to us about this. Parvati, welcome to Republic TV. Tell us more about what this means. How can this take a toll on people who work in the company and beyond? In fact, there are UN reports, WHO reports that suggest that so many people in years are killed because of the illnesses that they suffer because of long working hours. Parvati, tell us more about this.
Good evening. It's a privilege and honor to be on your show. Thank you so much for inviting me. I have been an employee. In fact, not just me, my husband also has been part of L&T. We are a part of the L&T family from the early 90s for more than a decade. And to tell you, the culture has been extremely good with L&T, though the working hours were about 10 hours a day on an average, 10 to 12 hours, not more than that. And we had a 5-day working per week. So this statement by the chairman, I'm sure he has not really meant what he wanted to say. Because 90 hours per week, I'm sure it's not practical at all for anybody to that extent, you know. And frankly, as an employee, or more so as a woman employee, I feel that it's not about just the husband looking at the wife or the wife looking at the husband at home. More than our professional requirements, we also have the personal requirements, and added to that, the social requirements are also there. So all put together, I think what makes an employee happy at the end of the day is how well he can balance his personal and professional life. And to do that, I'm sure 90 hours per week is not, practical at all.
Right, Parvati, thanks for answering that. In fact, I also want to speak to you about what is the notion. Do you think that if there is work that is extended, work hours which are extended, do you think that a pay parity for the amount of work that is being asked out of employees can do justice? Or do you think that even without or even with a pay parity, do you still think that work-life balance is an important aspect of an employee's life? Talk to us more about that also, Parvati.
Yeah, personally, if you ask me, pay has never been an issue for me. You know, working long, I have worked long whenever the situation has demanded, like when our the chairman at that time was Sri A.M. Nayak. So whenever he used to visit us at Baroda, I used to be part of his office. And Mr. K. Venkatramanan was the vice president then. So whenever he visited our office, we have to work extra hours to make, as per the requirement, we have put in extra hours. So at the end of the day, whenever the situation has demanded, we have all the employees are ready to put in extra hours.
Right, Parvati. In fact, I would also like to give you an anecdote that I found while researching more on the story. And I got to know that Mr. Subramaniam took home about 51 crore rupees as part of his salary in the financial year 2024, which was about 530 times more than the median salary of the employees. And yet, he has said that he will work as much as employees do. Thanks for joining us on the broadcast, Parvati. Those insights helped our viewers a lot, I'm sure. But for now, we will be moving on.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year. with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
उस दिन सनसेट देखने छज्जे पे चढ़ा, टूट गया।
हाँ, तू किसने बोला घर की दीवार पे रॉक क्लाइंबिंग करने को?
सफीना बदतमीजी।
समझ गया। मेरे पास आप दोनों की प्रॉब्लम की मेडिसिन है। इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
Virat Kohli's poor form in the recently concluded Border-Gavaskar Trophy series has left many contemplating just how much is left in the tank of the former India captain. Kohli scored 1 century at Perth, but the rest of his tour is best remembered for him consistently being dismissed by balls pitched outside the off stump. And while Kohli's efforts have not been in doubt, so pronounced have been his struggles that some have concluded that this is a mental block that he cannot possibly overcome. But he has now been offered some advice by former Australia captain Ricky Ponting, who believes that Kohli is trying too hard and that, in part, explains his struggles. The challenge is, and I can see it with Virat Kohli now, you can see how much he wants it. He's trying so hard that actually makes batting harder. The harder you try sometimes with batting, the less success you're going to have, Ponting said. Ponting added that Kohli is seemingly trying hard not to poke at balls outside the off stump, but said he believes a mental block has formed that leads to him falling for the same trap. Even the way that he's getting out, you can see he doesn't want to be playing at those balls. He's trying not to do it, but there's some mental block there that makes him feel for that one outside the off stump, Ponting said. So what exactly is the solution? In Ponting's opinion, he believes Kohli should take a break and try to come back mentally refreshed. He had a mental break in the past where he stepped away for a while and then came back and found the love for the game again. If he wants to continue playing Test match cricket, he might just need to have a little spell outside for a while, Ponting said. Kohli's form has been up and down across formats in recent years, but many thought his retirement from T20I cricket would lead to him finding more form in Test cricket. However, he has struggled majorly in all the 10 tests that India played to conclude their games in the 2023-25 edition of the World Test Championship. And given the next WTC final will be held in 2027, by which
we'll use this bite on the rundown. But Deepak, it's in Hindi language. Don't worry, we'll do real-time translation with interpreter.
इस बार का महाकुंभ राष्ट्रवाद के साथ हिंदू एकता और सनातन को शिखर पे ले जाने का एक बहुत बड़ा अवसर है।
देखिए, सनातन तो हमेशा शिखर पर ही रहा है, इसलिए सनातन है। हिंदू एकता और राष्ट्रीय एकता एक दूसरे के पूरक है। याद रखना, मैंने एक बार कहा था कि बटेंगे तो कटेंगे जी, ऐसे ही नहीं कहा था। इतिहास इस बात का गवाह है। एक हैं तो सेब है। जो भी एक शक्तिशाली और समृद्ध भारत का पक्षधर है, एक सुरक्षित भारत का पक्षधर है, उसे जातिवाद की इस दुकान को हमेशा के लिए बंद करने के लिए पुरजोर तरीके से आगे आकर के काम करना होगा।
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
आइस बोला था लाने को, लद्दाख चला गया। पूछा फोन पे इतना बिजी क्यों है, तो क्या बोला तू? हाँ, माउंटेन्स वर कॉलिंग।
डॉक्टर जहांगीर उस दिन सनसेट देखने छज्जे पे चढ़ा, टूट गया।
हाँ, तू किसने बोला घर की दीवार पे रॉक क्लाइंबिंग करने को?
सफीना बदतमीजी।
समझ गया। मेरे पास आप दोनों की प्रॉब्लम की मेडिसिन है। इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
Elaborate arrangements have been made for this year Vaikuntha Ekadasi by TTD and the district administration. Sufficient police personnel were deployed at all the counters in Tirupati. There were 9 counters and 1 in Tirumala. We kept holding areas as well this year additionally, so that there is easy access into the queue counters. Unfortunately, at this particular location, Bairagi Pattada, there was some miscommunication as to the opening of the gate. So at around 7:45, when they opened the gate suddenly, there were, in fact, the gate was initially opened to let one person go out because they were not feeling well, and it was opened and then closed. Then there was a commotion among the people that gates are being opened. So then they rushed towards the gate, and then again they had to open the gate. This is where the lapse has occurred. So unfortunate incident, but we have taken all the measures. Honorable CM also has spoken to all of us, and he has asked us to make all measures to ensure the injured are taken care of. Honorable CM himself is coming now to visit the patients and to the location and to review the situation. The situation has been brought under control at yesterday 9:30 itself. And in all the queue counters, the tickets have been distributed by 12:30 a.m., 1 a.m. It was completed, in fact. So everything is under control. There is no any other issue since 9:30 p.m. yesterday. So in right time, all the injured have been brought to the hospital and they have been treated. This is though it is an every year event, this year additional forces have been deployed both in Tirumala and Tirupati by the TTD administration and also the district administration. New measures have been taken up. All facilities have been provided.
ये कहते हैं पुराने विवादों पर को बंद करके रखो, इनको फिर से खुरेदने की जरूरत नहीं है।
पुराना जख्म का उपचार होना बहुत आवश्यक है, नहीं तो कैंसर हो जाता है। सर्जरी एक बार होगी और उस सर्जरी के लिए हमें तैयार रहना होगा। सर्जरी घोड़ा कितना भी बड़ा क्यों ना हो, अगर एक बार कायदे से सर्जरी हो जाएगी तो नए सिरे से फिर वह आगे बढ़ेगा।
संभल का मंदिर वहां बननी चाहिए फिर से।
आईने अकबरी इस बात को प्रमाणित कर रहा है कि यहाँ पे श्रीहरि के मंदिर को तोड़ करके कोई एक ढांचा खड़ा किया गया है, तो लोग अपनी आत्मा को एक बार झकझोरें, देखें, उसको स्वीकार करें। बीमारी को समय रहते स्वीकार कर लेना चाहिए।
आइस बोला था लाने को, लद्दाख चला गया। पूछा फोन पे इतना बिजी क्यों है, तो क्या बोला तू? हाँ, माउंटेन्स वर कॉलिंग।
डॉक्टर जहांगीर उस दिन सनसेट देखने छज्जे पे चढ़ा, टूट गया।
हाँ, तू किसने बोला घर की दीवार पे रॉक क्लाइंबिंग करने को?
सफीना बदतमीजी।
समझ गया। मेरे पास आप दोनों की प्रॉब्लम की मेडिसिन है। इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
long distance get you down. Now you can get 2x, 3x, 5x or even 10x close-ups with optical or optical quality zoom. It's that easy to zoom into an image or a document or even the sky.
जो हिंदू नेता है जो अब तक रामलला के दर्शन नहीं कर गए, क्यों नहीं गए? और क्या वो लोग अब कुंभ की सिग्निफिकेंस को समझ पाएंगे?
देखिए, हमारे यहाँ बाध्यकारी नहीं है, यही तो हमारी महानता है। हम बाध्य नहीं करते। भाई जो जाएगा पुण्य का भागीदार बनेगा, जो नहीं जाएगा अपने कर्मों की सजा भुगतेगा।
वो अब तक रामलला के दर्शन करने क्यों नहीं गए?
क्योंकि नैतिक रूप से इतना साहसी नहीं है।
Welcome, you're watching the Friday edition of This Is Exclusive with me, Shavan Sen. What is common among these very places? Unakoti, Mugdepur and the other very place where we have seen what really happened. How are these essentially places linked? Is there a larger conspiracy? Is there a deep, dark conspiracy that is essentially being hatched? Is there someone who's essentially gunning for a border escalation? And why suddenly is the BSF being prevented from border fencing? Tonight on This Is Exclusive, I will tell you the real reason behind the escalation at the Indo-Bangladesh border. But first up, let's take a look at the headlines. After desperate provocation attempts at the border, US government's big conspiracy unmasked. Bringing you the exclusive news break in a short while from now. Race for the Rakhine State begins. Myanmar army airstrike claims 40 lives in the deadly airstrike. We get you a ground report. L&T chairman Subramaniam calls for a 90-day work week, sparking a massive debate on work-life balance. Yogi to be the star campaigner in the national capital ahead of the Delhi Assembly polls. By the end of December 2024, there was a spike of infiltration, a spike that we saw of smugglers coming to the border of Indo-Bangladesh border. And what we essentially witnessed was this, ladies and gentlemen, the very fact that all of these places, which are in different parts, in West Bengal and in Tripura, there was this renewed attempt of infiltration, smuggling, all of this actually happening. What could possibly be the reason? Is there a larger conspiracy at play? Tonight, we are basically uncovering the real conspiracy that was hatched by the Yunus government. The reason being that there is a pattern that essentially emerges, and there is a man that was handpicked by the Yunus government. This was just days before the first incident that actually took place in Sukhdepur. Yunus's government actually picked up a military hardliner, someone who was heading the BDR, which is now known as the BGB, that is the Border Guard Bangladesh. And the scuffle that took place was in these very places, in Unakoti also. You've seen those very images where we saw the border security force standing there, preventing an infiltration attempt from taking place. Now, who exactly is this person that was handpicked by Yunus government, and whether at all this was part of a larger design, and the design being looking forward for a border escalation actually taking place that was thwarted by the border security force. We've identified the man. This person makes a statement immediately after being appointed the head of a commission. And the commission basically looking into an incident that took place back in 2009. And without any evidence, the first statement that he makes was against India, trying to link India to a carnage in which there is no evidence that has been shared by Bangladesh. Take a look at this report.
Sukhdepur, Unakoti, and countless other districts on our border. A desperate Yunus is looking for a border escalation. Republic deciphers the real conspiracy hatched by Bangladesh's caretaker government. Here's the real story behind Yunus's desperate attempts. In the latest, the same military hardliner who was once removed by Hasina has been handpicked by Yunus. Days before the escalation at the border began, General Rahman was asked to head a commission. The commission was given a mandate: find the transnational link to the BDR carnage. A military hardliner known for his anti-India outlook, Major Faizur Rahman. The story starts in 2009, the infamous BDR carnage. The Bangladesh Rifles revolt, also referred to as the Pilkhana tragedy or the Pilkhana massacre, was a mutiny staged on 25th and 26th of February 2009 by a section of the Bangladeshi Rifles. The rebelling BDR soldiers took over the BDR headquarters in Pilkhana, killing BDR Director General Shakil Ahmed along with 56 other army officers and 17 civilians. They also fired on civilians, held many of their officers and their families hostage, vandalized property and looted valuables. By the second day, the unrest had spread to 12 towns and cities. Yunus has formed a 7-member independent commission headed by Major General Fazlur Rahman to reinvestigate the 2009 BDR carnage. Yunus's man Friday, Major Rahman, openly blames India for the 2009 BDR carnage.
এর মধ্যে অনেকেরই মতামত থাকতে পারে। আমি নিরপেক্ষ তদন্তের সাথে একটা কথা বলতে চাই, ভারত জড়িত বললে হবে না, অমুকে জড়িত, অমুক জেনারেল জড়িত, এটা বললে হবে না, তার সপক্ষে প্রমাণ হাজির করতে হবে। আমি চাইবো আপনারা প্রমাণ দেন, যত ছোটই হোক, যত বড়ই হোক, যত গুরুত্বপূর্ণ হোক বা গুরুত্বপূর্ণ নাই হোক, আপনারা এই প্রমাণ আমাদেরকে দেন। কি এটার উপর নির্ভর করবে অনেক কিছু।
Since then, Yunus's forces have left no stone unturned to provoke the BSF. And surprisingly, the special court investigating the 2009 carnage was set ablaze by students, leading to destruction of all possible evidence. As Republic unmasks a desperate Yunus, the question remains: when will Yunus finally stop provoking our mighty forces?
24th of December, ladies and gentlemen, you have a military hardliner handpicked to look into a carnage that took place back in 2009. And with one single mandate, look into what Yunus says, transnational link. Joining us on this broadcast is Dr. Barik Kaiser. He's from the Awami League. Dr. Kaiser, we believe that there is a link, and the link is this. The military hardliner has been brought in because they are looking for some sort of a border escalation. And why this is a cause of concern. Who exactly is this person, Major General Fazlur Rahman, and how this is going to be a cause of concern for India?
You know that Yunus government is totally, they are anti-Indian, and you know the conspiracy in August, and most of the people in Bangladeshi people that time they are confused. Because they are confused because at that time social media spread fake news, misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. That's why people cannot understand what is happening, and they are totally confused. But day by day, the people can understand. They basically, their movement is totally wrong. So the Yunus government, their main tactics and technique is anti-Indian. They try to grow up anti-Indian sentiment in Bangladeshi people. That's why totally they just want
Dr. Kaiser, I want to ask you a specific question that is with regards to this man that I'm going to put on air. Someone who headed the BDR, and at that point in time we saw the kind of skirmishes that took place with the BSF when he was at the helm of power. How exactly can that be linked? Because many are saying right now, who have been closely watching all of this, the chronology, his appointment and then what happened in northern Tripura and in West Bengal is a clear link that there is something that is actually brewing. What is it?
Basically, Dr. Yunus, they try to rearrange, they try to focus the anti-Indian sentiment. That's why they basically replace that kind of people, and they totally try to destroy the army sentiment and anti-Indian sentiment.
And who exactly is this person? Dr. Fazlur Rahman. Who is this Dr. Fazlur Rahman? And if I'm not wrong, as I understand, he was removed by Sheikh Hasina. He was removed by Sheikh Hasina. He says that this was only because he was able to carry out a military operation against India, which never actually happened.
Basically, you know, most of the people, they support India, and another side support the Pakistan. I think he support Pakistan. That's why it's totally a confusing statement, I think.
Thank you very much, Dr. Barak, for joining us on this broadcast. And as we've been pointing out that why this military hardliner is exactly becoming the bigger cause of concern at this point in time, and more importantly, how things are actually changing over a period of time. Ladies and gentlemen, let me also now take you through the other big story that is coming on, that is from Myanmar. At least 40 civilians, including children, have been killed in an airstrike by Myanmar's army on a village controlled by an armed ethnic group. The attack reportedly occurred in Kyauk Nimau village on Ramri Island, now a township which is currently held by the Arakan army in western Rakhine State. Republic is the only channel to bring you these exclusive images from where this incident actually took place. One of the biggest concerns in the South Asian region right now is the battle of the Rakhine State, and Republic has been getting you all the updates from this very region. Let me also tell you why this essentially becomes a cause of concern for India because of the project that is underway. In fact, this project that we are talking about and the connection that was essentially being built from Myanmar to Kolkata, remember that has now been perhaps put in cold storage. And that is one of the bigger cause of concern. Rakhine, now in western Myanmar, shares a border with Bangladesh. It is where India is basically developing a flagship infrastructure project that is connecting Kolkata to the northeast. Now, it has been in since 2017, and perhaps it has been on the cold storage for the exodus of the Rohingya people. The Myanmar army now essentially controls only 3 points. Now, what you see, these are the 3 points. It is in Sitwe, and Palachova, where these are now no longer with the Myanmar army. All these 3 points have now been taken over by the Arakan army. And the 3 points which you are seeing, these are on the coastline on the Bay of Bengal. Now, soldiers there have no access to the remaining Myanmar mainland. Now, a stretch of the highway that is yet to be completed runs through the areas in Myanmar's Chin and Rakhine states, which are seeing some of the worst fighting in the recent months. Now, one of India's flagship connectivity projects that was aimed at enhancing road and maritime connection. So the South Asia, the threat that you're looking at, the Southeast Asia has faced a definite setback after an important town in Myanmar was actually captured by the Arakans. Now, let's take a look at this report of the fight that took place between the Myanmar army and the Arakan army.
Hundreds of houses burnt. Panic-stricken locals. Watch how the locals in unison attempt to douse the flames caused due to the airstrike. An airstrike by the Myanmar army on a village under the control of the Arakan army killed about 40 people and injured at least 20 others, according to the Arakan officials. Earlier, Republic brought to you exclusive updates from our very vicinity, starting from the Arakan army's capture of the Mongdao township to the latest developments from the Rakhine State. Myanmar has been racked by violence since the army ousted the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi in February of 2021. The Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, alongside the Arakan Army, are trying to establish control over the Rakhine State. The Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army and the Arakan Army are essentially in a three-way fight with the Myanmar Army in race for control over the Rakhine State. With the Myanmar Army now trying to gain control of the area, major Rohingya escalation in infiltration to Bangladesh and India seems more imminent than ever.
Well, as we come to the end of this news wheel, let's record and summarize with the Note Assist using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. At least 40 civilians, including children, have been killed in an airstrike by Myanmar's army on a village controlled by an armed ethnic group. Officials have also recorded the attack. The attack occurred in Kawak Nimau village on Ramri Island, a township currently held by the Arakan army in western Rakhine State. On Wednesday, the bombing caused a huge fire in the densely populated village that reportedly burnt down at least 500 houses. There you have it, the precise reading of the news in a simpler format using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. We'll be back with the headlines in a few minutes.
ये कहते हैं पुराने विवादों पर को बंद करके रखो, इनको फिर से खुरेदने की जरूरत नहीं है।
पुराना जख्म का उपचार होना बहुत आवश्यक है, नहीं तो कैंसर हो जाता है। सर्जरी एक बार होगी और उस सर्जरी के लिए हमें तैयार रहना होगा।
सर्जरी
घोड़ा कितना भी बड़ा क्यों ना हो, अगर एक बार कायदे से सर्जरी हो जाएगी तो नए सिरे से फिर वह आगे बढ़ेगा।
संभल का मंदिर वहां बननी चाहिए फिर से।
आईने अकबरी इस बात को प्रमाणित कर रहा है कि यहाँ पे श्रीहरि के मंदिर को तोड़ करके कोई एक ढांचा खड़ा किया गया है, तो लोग अपनी आत्मा को एक बार झकझोरें, देखें, उसको स्वीकार करें। बीमारी को समय रहते स्वीकार कर लेना चाहिए।
यूपी आसपास के स्टेट से ला के फर्जी वोट बनवा रहे हैं ये लोग। तो हमने उनको ये कहा कि इस तरह के लार्ज स्केल पे एडिशन और डिलीशन हो रही है, तो 23,000 ये और 5,500 ये 18.5% वोट अगर किसी विधानसभा की इधर से उधर कर दी जाएंगी तो फिर चुनाव थोड़ी है, फिर तो केवल तमाशा है, नाटक है।
If those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. There should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that. But there was, and many people are killed. They're no longer hostages. I have people from Israel and others calling, begging me to get, we had also people there from the United States, just so you know. They're holding some so-called hostages from the U.S. But I've had mothers come to me and fathers crying, can I get the body of their son back? Can I get the body of their daughter back? That beautiful girl where they threw her in the car, pulled her by her ponytail and threw her in the car like she was a sack of potatoes. I said, what happened to her? Sir, she's dead. Like a 19, 20-year-old beautiful girl. And the way they treated her. And I just say it this very simply. Steve's got a job to do. He's a great guy, great negotiator, great person. They respect him over there already. It's what we needed over there. We have people that know everything about the Middle East, but they can't speak properly. They don't know. He's a great negotiator. That's what I needed. I could have sent that gentleman right over there.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi makes podcast debut. Prime Minister's podcast debut leaves ecosystem in shock. Prime Minister's unseen avatar in debut podcast, debating tonight at 8 p.m.
Thanks for joining us on Republic TV. Let's get you the news summarized with Note Assist using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Prime Minister Narendra Modi makes podcast debut with Zerodha's Nikhil Kamath. From politics to social media, Prime Minister talks about it all. The BJP stages protests outside Kejriwal's residence over his insult to voters from Purvanchal. Republic gets back-to-back scoops on Delhi election. Sources say Yogi Adityanath to be the star campaigner. L&T defends the chief's 90-hour work week call. Economists, politicians, and even actors swayed into the debate. That was the news summarized with notices using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Let's start with a big story coming in at this hour. All right, breaking news coming in after Purvanchali's politics heating up over the Jats ahead of polls in Delhi, with the BJP charging the Aam Aadmi Party for indulging in Jat politics. Remember, earlier we had the BJP charging the AAP for insulting the Purvanchalis, which is essentially people from eastern Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, and now saying, why bring in the Jat politics when you did nothing for the Jats in Haryana? Let's listen into what the BJP is saying, because that's after Chief Minister Atishi shot off a letter to the LG on some schemes for the Jat community.
पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री और वर्तमान मुख्यमंत्री दिल्ली में भ्रम का, झूठ का हर दिन कोई नया जाल बिछाने की कोशिश करते हैं। अब वर्तमान मुख्यमंत्री ने 5 जनवरी को चिट्ठी लिखी और चिट्ठी लिखकर ये कहा कि दिल्ली के जाटों को केंद्रीय मंत्रिमंडल द्वारा दिल्ली में आरक्षण नहीं दिया गया है। पिछले 10 सालों के अंदर दिल्ली में आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार थी। इन 10 सालों में कभी कोई चर्चा भी इस विषय पर दिल्ली विधानसभा में नहीं हुई। बहुत दुख के साथ कहना पड़ रहा है कि जाटों के नाम पर जो व्यक्ति राजनीति कर रहे हैं, उन्होंने कभी दिल्ली में जाटों के हक की आवाज विधानसभा में नहीं उठाई।
All right, this seems comes after former Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal wrote to Prime Minister Narendra Modi seeking the enlisting of the Jats in the central OBC quota. The BJP now hitting back, saying that the AAP did nothing when the government was there and when Kejriwal was the Chief Minister. In fact, the BJP has gone on to allege insults of Purvanchalis in the national capital by the Aam Aadmi Party. Let's listen in how it's panning out between the BJP and AAP over Delhi.
13,000 नए वोट बनने की एप्लीकेशन आई है। जाहिर तौर पे यूपी और बिहार से ला के यूपी आसपास के स्टेट से ला के फर्जी वोट बनवा रहे हैं।
In yet another flashpoint going into the Delhi Assembly polls, the ruling Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP traded charges over Purvanchali voters in the national capital. This after the BJP accused the Aam Aadmi Party and its national convener Arvind Kejriwal of insulting Purvanchalis, a term commonly used to describe settlers from Bihar and UP in the capital. The BJP's charge was in response to Kejriwal's claim that the former was bringing fake voters from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh to win the Delhi polls.
यूपी आसपास के स्टेट से ला के फर्जी वोट बनवा रहे हैं ये लोग। तो हमने उनको ये कहा कि इस तरह के लार्ज स्केल पे एडिशन और डिलीशन हो रही है, तो 23,000 ये और 5,500 ये 18.5% वोट अगर किसी विधानसभा की इधर से उधर कर दी जाएंगी तो फिर चुनाव थोड़ी है, फिर तो केवल तमाशा है, नाटक है।
Railing against the AAP Supremo at a press conference on Thursday, BJP MP Manoj Tiwari said the Purvanchali voters will show Kejriwal who's fake in the February 5 polls.
आज मैं पूछना चाहता हूं अरविंद केजरीवाल, आपने हिम्मत कैसे किया पूर्वांचल के लोगों को, उत्तर प्रदेश बिहार के लोगों को फर्जी कहने का? फर्जी आप हैं, 42% वोटर है अरविंद केजरीवाल, ध्यान से सुन लो। और ये लोग आज जो आपने ये बात कही है ना, इसका जवाब 5 फरवरी को देंगे।
Doubling down on its charge against Kejriwal, the BJP demanded an apology to the Purvanchalis, saying they contribute majorly to Delhi's fiscal health.
अरविंद केजरीवाल समय समय पर पूर्वांचल के भाई बहनों का अपमान करते रहे हैं।
जितने भी मतदाता हैं, जितने भी लोग हैं, वो इन बिहार और यूपी के मेहनतकश लोगों के अपमान का बदला लेंगे और वो बदला अपना वोट डाल के लेंगे, तुम्हारी खिलाफत करके लेंगे।
Weighing in on the row, Uttar Pradesh Deputy Chief Minister Brajesh Pathak said the Purvanchali settlers have given Delhi some of its prominent public landmarks, including roads and high-rises.
केजरीवाल जी, कब तक उत्तर प्रदेश और बिहार के लोगों को आप गाली देते रहोगे? अरे पूर्वांचल के लोगों का, उत्तर प्रदेश बिहार के लोगों का पसीना लगा हुआ है दिल्ली के निर्माण में। चाहे सड़क की बात हो, चाहे गगनचुंबी इमारतें हो, यूपी बिहार के लोगों का पसीना इमारत की नींव में लगा हुआ है।
The AAP, meanwhile, hit back at the BJP, accusing it of using the Purvanchali people as a poll prop.
हम ये शिकायत करने गए थे और इलेक्शन कमीशन के सामने शिकायत करने गए थे, वो रिकॉर्ड में है कि हमारे यूपी बिहार पूर्वांचल के भाई जो 30-30, 40-40 साल से दिल्ली में रह रहे हैं, उनके वोट कटवाए जा रहे हैं, वो वोट काटे ना जाए।
Meanwhile, at a press briefing today, the BJP accused the AAP of being behind the Northeast Delhi riots. The BJP also claimed evidence of the AAP adding fake voters in Delhi's electoral rolls ahead of the single-faced polls.
पूरा दिसंबर 2024 आप इस जुगाड़ में लगे रहें कि किसी तरह से बांग्लादेशी और रोहिंग्या के वोट ना कटें और नए वोट बनाने के लिए दबाव डालते रहें। पूरा दिसंबर आप इस काम में लगे रहें। ये दिखाता है आपकी राजनीतिक हताशा कितनी है।
Earlier, the BJP took a swipe at the AAP over Kejriwal's letter to PM Modi seeking the inclusion of Jats in the central OBC quota list.
ओबीसी लिस्ट में, दिल्ली सरकार की ओबीसी लिस्ट में जाट समाज का नाम आता है। केंद्र सरकार की एक ओबीसी लिस्ट है। केंद्र सरकार की ओबीसी लिस्ट में दिल्ली का जाट समाज नहीं आता। तो दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी में जब बच्चे एडमिशन लेने जाते हैं तो उसमें दिल्ली के जाट समाज को रिजर्वेशन नहीं मिलता।
The BJP said it was a pity that Kejriwal remembered the Jats just when the elections around the corner.
इन्होंने अगर जाटों के लिए कोई भी काम किया होता तो आज इनको चुनाव से ठीक 25 दिन पहले जाटों की याद नहीं आती। मगर जाट लोग सारे समझ चुके हैं कि ये फर्जीवाल नहीं, केजरीवाल ये कितना ज्यादा झूठ बोलते हैं।
As the battle for Delhi gets bigger and bitter, Republic asks, is Kejriwal making unfounded claims in Jats and Purvanchalis to dodge and deflect from the alleged scheme fraud?
Well, there can't be better proof of some people in the Bengal government being soft on the infiltrators coming in from the Bangladesh side. Days after Bangladeshi smugglers clashed with the BSF at India-Bangladesh border in Tripura's Unakoti, Trinamool leader and Kolkata mayor Virat Kohli has claimed that clashes happened because instigating slogans were raised from Indian side as well. Let's listen into what he has said.
উচিত না, এটা আমরা উচিত না। এখান থেকেও কিছু উস্কানিমূলক স্লোগানও শুনলাম, আপনাদেরই টিভিতে শুনলাম। তো এটা কাম্য নয়। কাম্য হচ্ছে যে আমাদের বর্ডার আমরা বেড়া দেব, ওদের বর্ডার যদি ওরা ইচ্ছা করে দেবে। এটার মধ্যে কেন বিরোধ আমি বুঝতে পারছি না। উচিত না, এটা আমরা উচিত না। এখান থেকেও কিছু উস্কানিমূলক স্লোগানও শুনলাম, আপনাদেরই টিভিতে শুনলাম। তো এটা কাম্য নয়। কাম্য হচ্ছে যে আমাদের বর্ডার আমরা বেড়া দেব, ওদের বর্ডার যদি ওরা ইচ্ছা করে দেবে। এটার মধ্যে কেন বিরোধ আমি বুঝতে পারছি না। উচিত না, এটা আমরা উচিত না। এখান থেকেও কিছু উস্কানিমূলক স্লোগানও শুনলাম, আপনাদেরই টিভিতে শুনলাম। তো এটা কাম্য নয়। কাম্য হচ্ছে যে আমাদের বর্ডার আমরা বেড়া দেব, ওদের বর্ডার যদি ওরা ইচ্ছা করে দেবে। এটার মধ্যে কেন বিরোধ আমি বুঝতে পারছি না।
All right, that really gives you an idea of the kind of indulgence we see insofar as Bangladeshi infiltration is concerned. The soft approach with which Virat Kohli is talking about people coming in from the Bangladeshi side, people targeting the BSF, and look at these pictures. An attempt is being made to even physically hit our soldiers, and Firad Hakim suggesting that there was provocation from our side, while you see in these pictures clearly smugglers pushing in contraband from the Bangladeshi side, taking on the soldiers, trying to physically harm them, attack them. And when the Indian citizens come in defense and stand by our soldiers, Firad Hakim says that, oh, there was provocation. And what was the provocation? The provocation was slogans like Bharat Mata Ki Jai. And look at this picture. The BSF soldier being hit by a Bangladeshi smuggler. And Firad Hakim has no words for that. Absolutely silent on the manner in which our Jawans, brave soldiers, are being targeted by the Bangladeshi smugglers in an act of provocation. Earlier, the Bangladeshi side provoked, and now it seems Firad Hakim wants to build on it. All right, moving on that note, a massive fire broke out in a 3-story building in Jammu and Kashmir's Ramban. According to sources, properties worth rupees 75 lakhs were gutted in the blaze. Take a look at this 1-minute report.
A massive fire ripped through a 3-story building in Jammu's Ramban. According to sources, the fire engulfed the entire building in the Dungal Budni area of Rajgarh Tehsil, reducing properties worth rupees 75 lakh to ashes.
Massive fire has engulfed a house in the Rajgarh Tehsil of the Ramban district late last night. The incident has been reported at the house of Abdul Jabbar. This was a 3-story house, and his property worth more than 75 lakh has been razed to the ashes. The cause of the incident is being probed by the Jammu and Kashmir police.
According to the building's landlord, the fire spread in no time, consuming the entire structure within hours. However, no casualties were reported in the fire. A probe was underway to determine the cause of the fire.
Right, fueled by gusting winds and a dry weather, series of wildfires continued to sweep upscale Los Angeles and across California, claiming at least 10 lives and turning hundreds of houses, including that of some Hollywood A-listers, into a pile of gutted remains. Here are the details of what's really up there in Los Angeles and California.
So the Eden fire is now estimated to be 13,690 acres. We are still at 0% containment, but we now have a better estimation of the number of fire personnel assigned to the incident. We now have a confirmation that we have a potential for over 4,000 to 5,000 structures damaged or destroyed.
The wildfires of Southern California continues to rage on untamed. With at least 10 lives lost and over 5,000 structures gutted, Southern California is experiencing its most devastating winter fires in more than 4 decades. With 0% containment recorded over the last 3 days, as hundreds flee homes and scramble to the nearest shelter, a curfew has now been enforced in Los Angeles. Even as the wildfires burned down homes and destroyed livelihoods, insurance companies pulled back support.
It's all gone. All gone. I mean, the kids were born here, raised them here, 20-some years. Built this and it's completely gone. Not just me, it's the whole neighborhood. My whole neighborhood is gone. I don't know how we're going to come back from this. I don't even know where to start.
Racing against time to contain the fires, the authorities said the toll may rise. With the preliminary estimate pegging the losses at over $50 billion, President Joe Biden said the federal government will pay for the damage and help the state get back on its feet.
To the families who have been impacted by this disaster, you're living through a nightmare, I know. And I promise you, we're going to help you get through this and eventually recover and rebuild.
It's really, really bad. There's I want to say there's thousands of us that don't know what we're going to do. don't know where we're gonna go. And there's just thousands of people. There's I don't know how many thousands of structures were damaged, but it's a lot. I don't know how we're gonna be able to everybody get the help that we need, because we're definitely gonna need help.
With over 150,000 people receiving evacuation orders, former Vice President Kamala Harris called the forest fires apocalyptic.
What we have seen in California, and in particular in Southern California, is apocalyptic in terms of the nature of it and the unprecedented nature of it as well.
While efforts were ongoing to put out the leaping fires from choppers, the dousing operation was hampered by strong winds.
I regret I'm not able to make you work on Sundays. What do you do sitting at home? How long can you stare at your wives? How long can the wife stare at your husband? Come on, get to the office and start working.
Nation divided over 90-hour work week proposal. Is India ready for more working hours? Debating tonight at 9 p.m.
उस दिन सनसेट देखने छज्जे पे चढ़ा, टूट गया।
हाँ, तो किसने बोला घर की दीवार पे रॉक क्लाइंबिंग करने को?
सफीना बदतमीजी।
समझ गया। मेरे पास आप दोनों की प्रॉब्लम की मेडिसिन है। इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
Virat Kohli's poor form in the recently concluded Border Gavaskar Trophy series has left many contemplating just how much is left in the tank of the former India captain.
आम आदमी पार्टी के प्रमुख पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने जिस तरीके से यूपी बिहार के लोगों को लेकर आपत्तिजनक टिप्पणी करने का काम किया है, इसको कतई बर्दाश्त नहीं किया जा सकता। यूपी बिहार के लोगों को फर्जी कहना, और ये किस तरीके की बांटने की सोच है। क्या चाहते हैं पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी कि भारत में अब ड्यूअल सिटीजनशिप लागू कर दी जाए क्या आप देश के नागरिक अलग और राज्य के नागरिक अलग? ये देश की वो राजधानी है जहां पे देश भर से लोग आते हैं, और किस तरीके का संदेश आप उस राजधानी से आप देना चाह रहे हैं?
Right, welcome back. Larsen and Toubro chairman S.N. Subramaniam has sparked a massive controversy with his comments suggesting employees should work 90 hours a week and even on Sundays to remain competitive. In the video, asked why L&T required its employees to work on Saturdays, Mr. Subramaniam said, "I regret I am not able to make you work on Sundays. To be honest, if I can make you work on Sundays, I'll be more happy, because I work on Sundays." The statement has drawn criticism and support as well. And look at those who have spoken for and against what Subramaniam wants from his employees, a 90-hour work week. On the side of Subramaniam are voices like Bhavish Agrawal, Ola CEO, Elon Musk, Tesla CEO, of course. These are independent voices who have earlier taken position in favor of hard work for productivity, also for his Nilesh Shah Kotak Asset Management Company MD. Against, you look at some of the names like Deepika Padukone, Rohit Kapoor, and the list continues, including KJ Alphonse, for example, BJP leader, who has said that this is against work-life balance, including Michael Dell CEO. Let's listen to some of the reactions that have come in fact, even political reactions.
See, India is only a 3 trillion economy. I mean, China is much, much bigger, 5 times, 6 times bigger. And the Honorable Prime Minister wants India to become a developed nation by 2047. Our per capita income is below 2,400, while that of China is around 13,500, and Malaysia, Indonesia is about 25,000, US is about 70,000. Therefore, India needs to work much harder to become a developed nation. I have no doubts on this. I've been an IAS officer. I worked extremely hard in the IAS for 27 years. Then I quit and joined politics. When I joined politics, I worked even much harder than as an IAS officer. Then when I became a union minister, I was sleeping maybe 4 hours a day, not more than 5 hours. I don't think any minister in the Modi government sleeps more than 5 hours. They work more than 18 hours. So hard work is extremely important. I would go even on a Sunday to my office as a union minister, but no staff. I said, no staff will come. I will go alone to my office. That's a day for me to think, for me to organize my ideas. But I don't really think that's fair to the rest of the employees. I think we need a balance. I think people need to really balance between family, happiness, their children, and all that is extremely important.
All right. Zerodha co-founder Nikhil Kamath interviewed Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his podcast series in what turns out to be the first for the Prime Minister. PM spoke on a range of topics, including his childhood and his life as a student and what youth should do if they want to join politics. Prime Minister also spoke in depth about his days as a young politician. Listen in.
क्या ऐसी कोई चीजें हैं जो राजनीति में एक पॉलिटिशियन के लिए टैलेंट मानी जा सकती है? जैसे कि एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में जब कोई कंपनी स्टार्ट कर रहा है, उसके लिए इनहेरेंटली 3-4 टैलेंट्स चाहिए होते हैं, जैसे कि कोई अच्छे मार्केटिंग करे, कोई अच्छा सेल्स करे, कोई अच्छा टेक्नोलॉजी में हो जो प्रोडक्ट डेवलप करे. अगर किसी युवा को आज पॉलिटिशियन बनना है तो उसमें ऐसी कोई टैलेंट्स है जो आप परख सकते हैं ऐसे कि ये होना चाहिए?
दो चीजें अलग अलग है। पॉलिटिशियन बनना वो एक पार्ट है और पॉलिटिक्स में सफल होना वो दूसरी चीज है। तो दो अलग तरीके से। तो एक तो हो गया है राजनीति में आना, दूसरा होना है सफल होना। मैं मानता हूं कि उसके लिए तो आपका एक डेडिकेशन चाहिए, कमिटमेंट चाहिए, जनता के सुख दुख के आप साथी होने चाहिए, आप एक्चुअली अच्छे टीम प्लेयर होने चाहिए। आप ये कहो कि मैं तिस्मार खा हूं और मैं सबको चलाऊंगा और दौड़ाऊंगा, सब मेरा हुक्म मानेंगे, तो वो हो सकता है उसकी राजनीति चल जाए, चुनाव जीत जाए, लेकिन वो सफल राजनेता बनेगा गारंटी नहीं है। और देखिए देश में मैं कभी कभी सोचता हूं, हो सकता है मैं जो सोचता हूं वो विवाद भी पैदा कर सकता है। जब आजादी का आंदोलन चला उसमें समाज के सब वर्ग के लोग जुड़े, लेकिन सब पॉलिटिक्स में नहीं आए। कुछ लोगों ने अपना जीवन बाद में शिक्षा को दे दिया, किसी ने खादी को दे दिया, किसी ने प्रौढ़ शिक्षा को दे दिया, किसी ने ट्राइबल की भलाई के लिए ऐसा रचनात्मक कामों में लग गए। लेकिन देशभक्ति से प्रेरित वो आंदोलन था, आजादी का आंदोलन। हर एक के मन में एक जज्बा था, भारत को आजाद कराने के लिए मुझसे जो होगा मैं करूंगा। आजादी के बाद उसमें से एक लॉट राजनीति में आया। और शुरू में देखिए राजनीति के बाद हमारे देश में जितने टॉलवर्ड लीडर्स थे वो आजादी के जंग से निकले हुए लीडर थे। तो उनकी सोच, उनकी मैच्योरिटी, उसका रूप अलग है, बिल्कुल ही अलग है। इनकी बातें, उनकी बिहेवियर की जो चीजें सुनने को मिलती है उसमें एक बहुत ही समाज के प्रति अतिशय समर्पण भाव। और इसलिए मेरा मत है कि राजनीति में निरंतर अच्छे लोग आते रहने चाहिए और मिशन लेकर के आए, एम्बिशन लेकर के नहीं। अगर मिशन लेकर के निकले हो तो कहीं न कहीं तो आपको स्थान मिलता जाएगा। एम्बिशन से ऊपर होना चाहिए मिशन। फिर आपके अंदर क्षमता हो गई। अब जैसे महात्मा गांधी, आज के युग के नेता की जो आप परिभाषा देखते हैं तो उसमें महात्मा जी कहां फिट होते? पर्सनालिटी वाइज शरीर दुबला पतला, ऑरेटरी न के बराबर थी। तो उस हिसाब से देखे तो भाई वो लीडर बन ही नहीं सकते थे। तो क्या कारण था?
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass-comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
Virat Kohli's poor form in the recently concluded Border Gavaskar Trophy series has left many contemplating just how much is left in the tank of the former India captain. Kohli scored 1 century at Perth, but the rest of his tour is best remembered for him consistently being dismissed by balls pitched outside the off stump. And while Kohli's efforts have not been in doubt, so pronounced have been his struggles that some have concluded that this is a mental block that he cannot possibly overcome. But he has now been offered some advice by former Australia captain Ricky Ponting, who believes that Kohli is trying too hard and that, in part, explains his struggles. The challenge is, and I can see it with Virat Kohli now, you can see how much he wants it. He's trying so hard that actually makes batting harder. The harder you try sometimes with batting, the less success you're going to have, Ponting said. Ponting added that Kohli is seemingly trying hard not to poke at balls outside the off stump, but said he believes a mental block has formed that leads to him falling for the same trap. Even the way that he's getting out, you can see he doesn't want to be playing at those balls. He's trying not to do it, but there's some mental block there that makes him feel for that one outside the off stump, Ponting said. So what exactly is the solution? In Ponting's opinion, he believes Kohli should take a break and try to come back mentally refreshed. He had a mental break in the past where he stepped away for a while and then came back and found the love for the game again. If he wants to continue playing test match cricket, he might just need to have a little spell outside for a while, Ponting said. Kohli's form has been up and down across formats in recent years, but many thought his retirement from T20I cricket would lead to him finding more form in Test cricket. However, he has struggled majorly in all the 10 tests that India played to conclude their games in the 2023-25 edition of the World Test Championship. And given the next WTC final will be held in 2027, by which point Kohli will be 39, it is easy to see why there have been rumblings about phasing him out from Test 2. That is perhaps the next great challenge that lies in front of current head coach Gautam Gambhir, figuring out exactly when to phase out Virat Kohli.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi makes podcast debut. Prime Minister's podcast debut leaves ecosystem in shock. Prime Minister's unseen avatar in debut podcast, debating tonight at 8 p.m.